Hello, and welcome back, my friends, to another episode of the Optimize for Impact podcast. On today's show, I am giving away all my secrets. Every single last secret that I have had hidden in a chest in the backyard, buried 7 feet down, planted underneath, or I planted a tree over it to hide it. And in that chest, the secrets we're giving away is how I prep healthy, whole, high nutrient, filling foods in a way that is quick, easy, and ready to eat every single week so that I can eat these incredibly satisfying, performance boosting, energy giving, recharging foods that support my goals and allow me to live a high performance life. Okay, that was a crazy intro. Maybe I'll delete that. Maybe I'll keep it. But basically what we're getting at today is I want to tell you guys or walk you through the process I use for making meal prep really fast and really simple, even if you're super busy. Now, as you think about meal prep, things may come to mind like a stack of Tupperware containers with everything perfectly portioned, perfectly set for every single meal for that week. Now, if that's you, bless you, honey. That's a lot of work. And I personally don't do that. I don't enjoy it. And I don't find it very helpful. And here's why. As I train, I train a decent amount. I exercise a decent amount. And some days are much higher than other days. I'll have days where I just lift. I'll have days where I lift, I run, and I bike, and I walk. And so my energy level that I need to consume, the amount of food I need to consume each day highly varies. And so I have never found that having, like the same meal perfectly portioned for 7 days works well for me, because some days I eat like 3,500 calories or more, and some days I eat like 2,500, right? And I don't track calories, but like I'm just kind of like eyeballing or ballparking based on years of experience tracking food and eating food. I know that my energy intake highly varies. So for me personally, that classic meal prepping approach of like on Sundays, making 20 perfectly portioned Tupperwares of prepped foods doesn't work well. So I came up with a system that I call modular meal prepping, or sometimes I'll call it micro meal prepping. And the concept is the same. And the concept is, instead of meal prepping an entire meal, so inside of that meal prep container, instead of having like your piece of meat and your carb and your vegetable and your fat, what I do is I just bulk prep one food that I can then repurpose into multiple meals. So I have one food ready to go in a bulk format that I can then just grab and use in a variety of meals. And so let's use an example here to bring example. Let's say chicken breast. So I will bulk prep. Instead of just buying or cooking like one or two, I will prep a ton, an entire value pack of chicken breast. So we're talking like 8 to 10. That's a lot of chicken breast, right? I will bulk prep that. Usually in my Instapot, I'll just like slow cook it or slow cookers. And then I have all this chicken breast that I can repurpose into multiple meals that week. I can shred it and put it into tacos. I can chop it or slice it and put it into stir fry. I can slice it and put it into a sandwich. There are all these different ways that I can reuse that chicken breast in different meals. So it's not like boring where it's like you're eating the same thing every day. It's not like tacos every day or stir fry every single day. Though I do eat stir fry almost every single day because I love it. But you can use one food, you meal prepped one food, chicken breast, and then you repurpose it into a ton of different meals that week, right? The options and the variety are endless, really, when you think about it with certain foods. Another one is rice. I will bulk prep rice which means like instead of like, making 1 cup, I'll make 2 or 3 cups of rice. And then I'll put it in containers and like same idea, use it in a bunch of different meals. I can use it with tacos. Again, I can use it with stir fry. I can have it as a side with like a grilled steak or something like that. I can work it into a breakfast hash, kind of like a Hawaiian breakfast plate, right? Like rice, eggs, veggies, fried all together. There are a lot of different ways I can reuse that rice across different meals, but I only cooked it once. And so this modular meal concept is a mix of meal prepping and bulk cooking foods, but choosing foods you can bulk cook that you can take and repurpose as like a modular piece into multiple meals. This way you can, on the fly, choose how much you eat. For someone like me, if training volume is high that day, I'll be eating a lot of rice. If it is low that day, I'll eat less. And I'm not stuck eating what's just in that container that I made for that one day. It's very flexible and it's very easy to adjust with this system. And then secondly, it creates variety. You can eat not only multiple meals, you can choose what you feel like that day. So normally you'd be stuck eating what you felt like on Sunday or decided to make on Sunday because everything's all portioned out in your container. But now I can choose that day. If I wake up and I'm like, man, I don't feel like stir fry, I'm going to make a shredded taco with this chicken, right? And it allows you to not only eat the portions that you feel like eating or should eat that day, but it allows you to also eat meals that you want to eat. You can choose in that moment how you want to use that food. And so this modular meal prepping approach is highly flexible, keeps things easily entertaining, and it allows you to eat more meals that you feel like on that day. And honestly, the enjoyment of eating is one of the most important aspects of eating. And if you can enjoy it, it is so much better. So to recap, here's the process. On this podcast, the reason I started the show was I want to help and empower you to take knowledge, to go from knowledge to implementation. So instead of just giving you this idea of meal prepping, I always want to try to give a step-by-step process for actually taking action. Because as we all know, the only thing that's ever going to change you is if you act on the knowledge. So I just taught you about gave you this concept of modular meal prepping. And if you like it, then the next step is like, how can you begin to practice it, implement it into your day so you can save time, have food that's ready to go, that's highly nutritious, supports your goals, and keeps things fun and highly variety, right? How do you implement modular meal prepping into your life starting this week? Here's the process, right? So number one is you're going to choose the food item that you want to modular meal prep. So for this step, first is just think about the meals you currently are eating often, foods you like, and look for, is there a food that I'm constantly remaking that I could bulk prep once? For me, that was chicken. I was constantly making chicken at one point. I realized, hey, if I just bulk prep this and have it ready to go, it'll save me time every single day because I can just cook it once, reuse it 8 times instead of cook it 8 times, use it 8 times, right? So think about foods you commonly eat, meals you're currently eating. Are there any foods that are compatible across those meals that you could cook them once and save yourself time? Number 2 is there... Oh, no, that was part of number 2. Never mind. I'm finally looking at my notes here. So choose the food item. Number 2 is make time to prep it. Think about, when do I have time to bulk prep this food? Again, many people will choose a certain day to bulk prep food, like Sunday afternoon. So look at your calendar, always look at your schedule and think, okay, is there a time I need to set aside to make sure I can cook all this chicken breast? Or my favorite, is there a way that I can automate this? Is there a way that I can like push a button, walk away, and it does it on its own? Yes, there is, and that's called a slow cooker, and it's called an Instant Pot. If you do not have a slow cooker, some people call them crock pots, or a pressure cooker like an Instant Pot that can do both fast, high pressure, low and slow cooking, get one. It is the ultimate life hack when it comes to eating healthy, because I can take 8 chicken breasts, whether they're frozen or thawed, it doesn't matter. I can put them in that slow cooker in my Instant Pot, press a button, and walk away. And at the end of the day, if I choose slow cook, or in an hour, if I choose high pressure, I can have an entire pot of chicken breast prepped and ready to go. All I did was put it in, press a button, walk away. It did it all. I didn't have to hang around, watch it in the oven. I didn't have to keep flipping in a frying pan, just walked away. So invest in a slow cooker or an Instant Pot to take and make that meal prep time, the time it takes to prep foods, shrink that down, because then all of a sudden it's way easier. Instead of spending all Sunday afternoon doing something, you can reduce it into 5 minutes in the morning and have it all ready at the end of the day. So think about, how will I be able to make time to prep this food that I chose? Can I shorten that time by investing in the right tools like a slow cooker and Instant Pot? And then the third step is just repurpose it. So foods that you don't eat, going back to the chicken breast example, having some big containers to put it into. I will often divide a bunch of chicken breasts into 2 or 3 containers, keep one in the fridge, put the other 2 in the freezer, and thaw them as I eat through that one in the fridge, just so it obviously doesn't spoil. Now, with foods like rice, they can get a little squirrely. The texture will change if you freeze them. That's where you will find that balance of how much can you bulk prep and how fast do you eat it so that food doesn't go bad. And that's just kind of a feel. For me personally, I just eat rice on my own, right? It's just me right now. I usually will cook 2 cups at a time, and that seems to be the sweet spot for having it ready to go, but I eat it before it goes bad. So the process for modular meals, bulk prepping foods that you can repurpose on the fly into a variety of meals during your week you have ready to go. The process is choose the food you're going to repurpose, make sure you schedule the time to prep it, or invest in a tool that will do the prep for you, an Instant Pot. You'll never regret it. And then 3 is just repurpose it into those meals as you go. So this was a quick tip, but is something that has absolutely profoundly allowed me to really achieve and land on my and maintain the fitness goals that I want to in life, because I've made eating healthy, home-cooked, high nutrient, highly filling foods really easy and simple for me to do. I've made it flexible. I've made it enjoyable. And this concept of modular meals and an Instant Pot for easy prepping has really allowed me to automate, subconsciously hit my goals, because by making healthy eating flexible, simple, fast, and enjoyable, it frees up so much thought. I have great food options ready to go. So I don't have to you don't go to the fridge and you open it up and you're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to eat? I got to order in pizza today. Stuff's always ready to eat. It's fast, it's easy because I'm using slow cookers or prep techniques to make sure that I'm not having to spend a ton of time prepping it, and it's ready to go. And so this is really, it's a kind of a common sense fundamental skill, but the more you practice it and the ways you can look to streamline it, speed it up, and automate it, like using food prep tools, the easier it becomes. And when it's easy and fast, that is a recipe for not just getting the results that you want, whether it's fat loss, whether it's maintaining a leaner body, whether it's becoming just more healthy or eating more healthy so you feel better and you see your biochemical numbers improve, right? But it allows you to spend more time living and maintaining that high performance, high impact, high health lifestyle, because it keeps you there. Having these systems set up for eating healthy, nutritious foods allows you to live more of your life in that sweet, high performance state. And that's what we're after. That's what this podcast is about. So I hope this concept of modular meals is useful. If this was useful, and if you think of someone, you're like, oh my goodness, they spend hours meal prepping and they're always miserable, send this episode to them and let them know about this modular meals concept. And hopefully that will make them smile more, help them be happier, and help them eat more healthy at the same time. And then second, guys, this is the biggest thing, is if you would rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. There is a link in these show notes, if you scroll down, click that. It takes less than 30 seconds to say something nice about this show and to leave a 5-star review. This vastly helps because it tells Apple's cool algorithms that this show's useful and they will show it to more people. So if you want to be a part of the mission of this show of helping people live more high impact, high purpose, high performing lives, please rate and review the show. I am so grateful for that. And then lastly, guys, if you have any comments, questions, or topics that you would love to hear me cover on the show, hit me up on Instagram. A link is in the bio, but my handle is It's Coach Joseph. I would love to answer your questions. That's where I'm active. And let me know what you think of the show. All right. That is all for this week. I will see you next time on another episode of the Optimized for Impact podcast. Take care.